this transformation, which again has been prepared. It is something which didn't come as a sharp and, I would say, unexpected event, because the G20 existed already. But this shift from the G7 to the G20, we owe it, it seems to me, obviously, because it was overdue, that these economies that were obviously systemic at the global level would have a full ownership of this global governance at the level of this informal grouping that I mentioned. But, and that's, of course, something which appears absolutely obvious. I trust also that there is a second reason. Perhaps the industrialized country proved that they were quite clumsy themselves in running their own economy, which are and remain, of course, at the core of global finance and of the global economy. And that is something that we have to take fully into account. It is of utmost importance that the new Basel rules that we are preparing, and we are in an intense phase of discussion after having had the input of the industry. The industry was in dialogue with the Basel Committee. We have this industry response, and now we have to engage in calibration.
Okay, that's enough.
Calibration exercise.
It goes on and on, more than a dozen times calling for global government, global governance. Now, when you get SPP documents, or you get North American Union documents, or you get internal EU documents, or Copenhagen documents like the treaty, they wouldn't give the treaty to the public. It had to be leaked, and it was confirmed by the London Guardian, and the UN admitted, no, this is the treaty, and it was just hundreds of taxes, total control, paid to private banks. And so when you get these documents, it's the top corporations and banks at meetings. They all agree on what they're going to do, and then the presidents and prime ministers sit there like errand boys and errand girls writing down their orders. And you just heard him talking about that. Private corporations are the ones that run this. And so you've got private central banks and mega corporations like IBM and Microsoft and Walmart at all of these events. And so you have government, mega industry, and mega media all teamed up together against the public. They're organized, they're focused, and they control the world through your taxes and regulations. And here he is, out in the open, calling for global government. And you can go read the full transcript or watch the entire video in Paul Watson's excellent article, Trichet Calls for Corrupt BIS to Boss Global Government in the CFR Speech. I mean, it nexuses in with the IMF and World Bank and the Federal Reserve and Bank of England, all just front holding companies for private banks. That's on record. But it's totally secret. All we have is the documents that have been leaked and their speeches. And what they're talking about openly is completely illegal. So that's what's happening. We have some major breaking news here today. This is from Kurt Nimmo. Is U.S. Army training to take on the Tea Party? And he has video of this. We talked about how they tried to sic riot police on peaceful Tea Party people in Illinois yesterday with Obama. And now we discover the Army was there. Well, of course, the Army was there, regular Army and National Guard at G20 in Pittsburgh last year. Of course they're there. I mean, we got the document, over a year ago, that the Ron Paul events, the Tea Party events, and, of course, they have sound cannons at the events for the public in San Diego. And we learned that I'm being surveilled, Ron Paul's being surveilled, that the In the Fed events have regular Army intelligence there. And in the particular document we've covered ad nauseum here, it said, don't let them know you're Army or they may attack you. So they're telling them we're dangerous terrorists. You know, we're evil Americans that don't like offshore banks robbing us. Is the U.S. Army training to take on the Tea Party? On April 17th, the Courier-Journal in Louisville, Kentucky, reported on an Army exercise dubbed MANGUDAI, named after the special forces of Genghis Khan's Mongol army, who could fight for days without food or sleep. The Kentucky newspaper portrayed the exercise as an effort to train soldiers to battle the Taliban in Afghanistan. Designed to test the limits of officers' physical, mental, and emotional endurance, They had one of these drills in Austin a week and a half ago, by the way, at Camp Mabry. The emerging Army exercise offered a revealing window onto modern combat training in the era of Iraq and Afghanistan, Chris Kenning wrote for the newspaper. Over 3 days last week, participants had to crawl on their bellies under real machine gun fire, shimmy commando style over a single rope high in the air, and march for more than 22 miles through the forest. But according to information received by the Patriot blog post, there's another aspect of the military exercise not reported by local media. This week, I was contacted by a number of military personnel enlisted in officers' ranks who expressed concern about military exercises underway at Fort Knox, the U.S. Bullion Depository. As with most such exercises, the Fort Knox alert occurred in stages, as if real-time intelligence was being provided to various intervals, writes Mark Alexander. Alexander cites an intel advisory issued on Friday, April 23, 2010, that identifies terrorist threat adversaries as local militia groups. That's confirmed. Anti-government protesters, Tea Party. And then we have a link to that. In short, the military was training in Kentucky to take on mythical militias. And that's also going on in Illinois. No word if they were the FBI creative variety and, remarkably, the non-violent Tea Party movement. See, Northcom and Homeland Security is meant to engage red-blooded Americans. And we even have the military now talking about the scenario. It continues. Anti-government healthcare protesters have stated that they would join the Tea Party as a sign of solidarity during a protest at Fort Knox. The Tea Party groups are armed, have combative training, and some are former military snipers. Some may have explosives training experience, according to the intel report. So this is what the military is being taught. And I told you over a year and a half ago, they were training every police department for IED attacks, improvised explosive device attacks, by militias. And they're going to stage attacks, say the American people are doing it, and they're going to try to roll the military out nationwide to confiscate the guns, just like New Orleans. They are preparing for this. We've got to get the word out now. And they'll blow up a few federal buildings, they'll kill some troops, and blame it on us. The intel report updated Monday, the 26th of April, 2010, noted that the rally at the militia compound occurred and viable threats have been made. Many members were extremely agitated at what they referred to as government intervention over taxation in their lives. We'll be right back with more of this. This is just more devastating information. I want Watson to boil down.